Speed.
Sunsets at Noon, scene 10, shot 18, take 3.
My name is Eli, and I was the director of photography on. I have a few other roles, but director of photography was my main role.
My name is Easton Lane, and I was the sound supervisor.
I'm Miles, and I was the second assistant director.
I'm Noah Tucker, and I wrote much of the original music for Sunsets at Noon.
I'm Gus Henderson, and I was the first assistant director.
Don McMullen, I was post supervisor.
My name is Vince Solly, and I was the script supervisor for Sunsets at Noon.
My name is Jacob C. Aldrich, and I am the unit production manager on the co-unit production manager on the feature film and co-casting director.
Sally Kearns, and I was the publicist, and I was also cast as the main female lead, Olive.
My name's Dalen Brown, and I was the gaffer for Sunsets at Noon.
My name is Hayden Kelly. I was a storyboarder.
My name is Kathleen Smith, and I am the producer and also the e-communication facilitator and entertainment video teacher.
What was your initial idea for the script, and how did you come up with it?
A couple years ago, my brother actually had an opioid overdose, and he thankfully didn't die, but he was in the hospital for like, I think it was 2 weeks or so, and in that time I would go to sleep and I would dream that he came back home, and that he was all fine, and none of that ever happened. So it was like, I thought about it one night, and then I woke up and I was like, this would be a great idea. So I called my ex and I was like, I have a great idea for a movie. I'm gonna write it and make it the feature film this year. And that's kind of how we got here, I guess. Okay, so the way that scripts get picked is we'll have everyone pitch to the class. So everyone has their own script or treatment that they write, and they pitch to the class. They just say their synopsis, their treatment, their log line, and stuff like that. And at the end of everyone pitching, everyone takes a vote. So it's like whoever gets the most votes in the class wins the feature film. Everyone wants to do it, kind of deal. This year was a little weird because we actually had a 3-way tie, which I don't think has ever happened before in econ. So that was a first. And it was really terrifying because it was a vote of, I think it was 9-9-9. And I was up against a group of 3 and another guy. He was one of the UPMs for our film. His name's Jacob Aldrich. And so I was running against also the seniors, which was terrifying. I actually, right before I pitched, I rewrote my entire synopsis, like the day of. And everyone was making fun of me for it, but who won? So, no, and then another thing is, I didn't actually have a treatment or anything until about week of kind of deal, because I would just kept procrastinating. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so bad, and thought that it wasn't gonna win. So I'd freak out about it and just write, I think it was 6 pages of just whatever my mind could think of, and that's how I got to the treatment of Sunsets at Noon. The way I won was how I figured out about it. I had my face in my hands, and I was looking at the floor, and I was like, I'm gonna lose so bad, because it was the final round of voting, and I felt a hard smack on my back, and Dalen, or Gaffer, just was like, you won! And I was like, that's not real. And I look up at the screen, I got a picture of it, and it said, our winner for feature film is My Brother and Me, the original name of the film. Jonathan Young, and that was a crazy experience for me.
Scriptwriting process. John, his role on the scriptwriting process was to create the story. He was the one who wrote the story while Miles and I kind of sat with him every hour of it and talked him through his thoughts and also revised the script as well. So that was kind of my role in the scriptwriting process, but storyline was on John.
So I did a lot of I proofread a lot, and I did a lot of just editing. Eli and Jonathan did most of the actual writing the script, and I just helped with editing, changing up words without changing the story.
Well, this script was very special because it came from the heart, and immediately I could tell that there was experience. One of the things that I ask for students is to make me care. And after reading that treatment, I cared about the characters that were involved. I cared about the relationships that were being formed. And I knew that this was something that we needed to move forward with because it was such a beautiful story that really affects the soul.
You did a lot. Could you give us a summary over like everything that you've done?
Roles or like what I did?
Like what you did.
You have to edit this like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this, and then cut this, then cut. Okay. Helped with script. Helped with casting. Helped with locations.
The standard role for sound supervisor was I just go on set and I record the audio for the movie. But during post, I also assisted with mixing the audio and then also recording some of the soundtrack. My favorite part was probably just learning about my own role as I did it. I learned a lot of new techniques, new methods to just make my work sound better. And I also really enjoyed like trying new stuff like recording music. I also liked leaving notes for John while he was editing. I'm sure he enjoyed that too.
I think my favorite part was going through each and every scene and having to manually guess the names for the files because we didn't use a slate, and so I had to go through each and every scene, naming them. And Easton left little audio notes, so there would be maybe 50 video clips and then 70 audio clips. Had to figure out which was which.
Call sheets, schedule breakdowns, when we did them, poster, binder covers, social media.
My favorite part about being publicist was getting to work on the poster. It was very exciting to be working on the poster, obviously. Just getting to see it, everybody has one, there's gonna be one on the wall next year, and I'm super excited about that. My favorite part about being an actor was, so my silly haha funny answer is, I really like being the center of attention, I always have. And being on the screen and having everybody watching me is kind of fun. But also making friends with obviously my co-star Elijah, and just getting closer to everybody else in general was very, very nice.
It was a new experience. I got to work closely with the actors, closely with Jonathan. Love working with Jonathan, because who doesn't? That was the main perk of the job.
Yeah, so my creative process behind writing the music is Easton had sent me kind of summaries of each of the scenes, and so I kind of thought about maybe what kind of emotional weight each scene would have, and so I picked out specific scenes that I knew that I think would be great with music behind it, and I wrote music specifically for that. I gave some characters different melodic themes that I used multiple times throughout tracks, and that way I could kind of just give each scene a general theme. And then after I had done that, I also wrote a couple of just ambient tracks that were long enough and kind of just nondescript enough, I guess you could say, that it could be played over any part of the movie and it wouldn't sound weird. And so I wrote a couple of those.
The DVD entrapment. Yeah.
Working on the film was very fun. I loved working with everybody. My friend Eli, amazing. Honestly, all of them are my friends. I loved working with them all. Storyboarding by itself was an experience. I don't know if I particularly enjoyed it. I love drawing. I love art. I do it all the time. storyboarding, having to draw when you don't know what you're about to draw and being told what to do exactly at that moment, not the best feeling. So wasn't the best experience, but you know, I had fun being with my friends and getting to work with them.
Yeah, but I decided to learn lighting this year, and I really felt like I clicked with it, so I just decided to keep going with it, especially since we didn't have another gaffer. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this. I really felt as much research as I did though for the Trello. I made a little Trello and stuff for it. You know, I feel like a real experience just helped me out. You know, definitely set me up set me up for success for next year.
As a director, you kind of dip your hands in all the roles a little bit because you're sort of overseeing the whole thing. So I guess that's probably my favorite part, is overseeing. Being able to boss people around and tell them what I want to do. That's the joke. Keep it in.
So, as a producer for the film, I'm the one that comes up and organizes the film. When the students submit their treatments, I am the one who works with them to figure out exactly what film is going to be produced. After that point, I look through all of the applications that all students submit and produce the production roles. Then the students start to work, and I am behind the scenes organizing their AMC premiere, their Boulevard Drive-In premiere, making sure that all marketing is done for them, and making sure that they have all of their production time schedules, call sheets, and actors present. The reaction of my students when they see the film on the big screen is why we do it.
Getting to see my music played at premiere night was really cool because I've written music before, but nothing like any that serious, and nothing I've really ever like shown in front of people or played in front of people before. And so having a whole room of people listening to my music on premiere night was like kind of a surreal experience, but also just really cool getting to see something I create come to life.
Going to AMC and like seeing and hearing people react to the movie that I wrote and everyone else worked on with me was such a weird experience, like almost a bittersweet experience, I would say. Because there were points where I'm like, oh, they didn't laugh at that, they didn't say anything, like no one gasped or anything, or I wish I did that there. There was one part where it like went black for a second and I was like, I freaked out. I had my second AD next to me and I like started like, oh my gosh, and he was just like, oh, calm down, it'll be fixed before Boulevard, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, all right. But walking up there and hearing everyone like cheer for the movie that you directed, you wrote, and you were like just exactly a year ago, you were in the position of the person taking the pictures for that man. It was crazy because I like last year I looked at Kellen and I was like, that would be so cool to like actually show your movie, never thinking that I would actually direct it and write it. That was just insane to me, but it I don't even know, you couldn't even describe the feeling.
It was very surreal. It was different from last year because last year it was a kind of a feeling of, oh, I can't wait to do this again next year, but this year was just kind of like, oh wait, it's over, there's no more, that's the last one. It was really bittersweet, but seeing everything we accomplished, everything we went through on the big screen was just very, very surreal.
When I saw it at AMC, it was very, like, it didn't really set in at first. Like we were entirely through the movie and I was like, oh, I was in a movie, and like 400 people just saw it, and like that's crazy. It more set in at Boulevard. I don't know why, but just like seeing myself on screen is honestly awful. Like I kind of hate seeing myself on the screen, but knowing other people are seeing me is nice.
I was happy. I'm glad my parents got to see what I made or what I helped make. But no, I was really happy to see it up on the screen. Saw my car in the shot. I stood up and started like chanting basically. People didn't like me that time, but it was fine. I did the same thing in the drive-in. I enjoyed seeing the movie. Good film. Our director, John, amazing job. He was really good at what he did there. It felt like he knew what he was doing and he felt comfortable in what he was doing. So it really made me feel safe while watching that, and it felt good.
Scary, I guess, because during the premiere I'm watching it and thinking of all the things that could have been going wrong with it. Any of the little mistakes, just realizing that that's my fault.
I think the final movie came out really, really good. I mean, I've kind of had a hand in it since the beginning. I was there when the script was being written. I was there, during filming and post-production. I've just kind of seen it come from an idea to an actual film. It's really surreal. Because last year I worked on the film, but I didn't really have that big of a hand in like writing it or post-production. But being there from step one to seeing it in the theater was incredible. And I think it turned out fantastic.
Focus on your task at hand. Don't focus on something that's gonna happen later. Prepare for your filming days at least a week in advance. Don't wait until the last minute. And make sure that you have a happy crew, because if you don't have a happy crew, then you'll have what we had our very first filming day.
I think that the juniors that are coming in, we try to encourage them, we try to tell them, but they do not know until they actually step foot on set what a great magical place a film set is. And so the preparation will be in them learning and developing and co-collaborating with their seniors, starting on the smaller projects that we do at the beginning of the year, and finding those relationships that they can depend on so that they can learn underneath the senior capstone students. If those juniors do that, they're going to be successful.
So being a director on feature film is so much different from being a director on short film, because first off, it's 30-something people instead of 6. You have a set deadline you have to have it be by, and I think that was one of the problems that we encountered was timing was one of the things that probably needed to be improved. I've grown a lot because I've sort of realized how a director works in a feature film setting.
Being a junior director has been one of the most stressful times of my life, trying to work through this, because unlike with seniors, they have a bit more time, they have a bit more leniency on what they do. Really the big thing is time, because they'll have late start or early start, and they can just work on it in their off time. While I don't really get that luxury as much, I have all my classes that I have to work for, and some of them do too. But it's just added on, and then with a job and directing the feature film, it's a lot. I basically had no free time, is basically what I'm saying. With me, because I'm the second junior director that's come through Ecom. The first was Ryan Howard, and he did Cursed. But technically, I am the youngest, so I can wear that proud. No, but it definitely has been one of the most stressful times of my life, but it will be something I won't forget. It will be something that'll stick with me forever.